everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a long time again. I felt this passion to talk about concealers. While back, the holy grail concealer that I constantly talk about is the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. That is like a cult favorite. It's a holy grail for a lot of people. That's a tried and tested. And me being a NARS fan, I stand by that concealer till now. I've gone through 3 tubes of those so far and it has lasted me quite a long time. But at this point, I have a bunch of concealers that I've never spoken about on my YouTube channel. Okay, so let's get started with the first concealer that I realized I really enjoy and I've only rediscovered in the past 1 or 2 weeks lately. Aqua Luminous Concealer, the Becca, and I got it in medium. A while back when I first got it, I liked it. It was very creamy, it was very radiant, but I feel like it didn't cover up my dark circles. Granted, I think I really had bad dark circles at one point because I wasn't getting enough sleep, and that was like before I was married. I think my dark circles were like kind of bad, so I thought this would fix it, but it didn't. And then now, when I've gotten into the routine of sleeping slightly earlier and trying to take care of my under eyes, I realized that this concealer is really good. In fact, I'm wearing it right now and I think it just makes your under eyes look a bit more moisturized, a bit more fresh, and I really enjoy that. The coverage is pretty good and it doesn't dry up my under eyes, which I really like. And I really recommend this to anyone who wants your under eyes to not look so, what you called it, dry and flaky, especially if you've had a bad night. I think this concealer really does the job for that, and I've been enjoying this quite a bit. Okay, for the next concealer that I want to talk about is the Urban Decay All Nighter Waterproof Full Coverage Concealer. This one, I use it for my blemishes. A while back, I didn't really take care of my skin. I still had a lot of dark pigmentation and I was looking for a hardcore concealer to cover up that pigmentation, and it was the Urban Decay All Nighter Full Coverage Concealer. I like this concealer, but it is not my favorite, simply because maybe it's the shade that I got. It turns out quite orange on my skin, which is fine by me because the orange tones kind of cancel out the darkness and the dark pigmentation, but I don't like how it oxidizes on my skin. It really oxidizes like 2 shades darker, and I'm already getting this in like a shade lighter. So I think a very good balance would be to get this in 3 shades lighter for myself, because it just oxidizes like crazy on my skin, which is oily combination skin, and it stays. I'll tell you that it stays, but it oxidizes over a period of time. So by the end of the day, maybe there's 1 or 2 patches where you put the concealer on your skin and you can kind of see how it's grown a little darker and more orange, Oompa Loompa like, which is fine if you're into that kind of thing, but I wasn't. And it's a risk with this concealer, I find. If your skin is oily in certain places and you have this concealer over it, it just oxidizes like, it's not cute. You think it looks good 4 hours after wearing it because it has oxidized to your skin tone, and then 2 or 3 hours later you realize, oh my god, there's a patch right here that looks extra orange and extra dark because you probably put a bit too much of this, or you're extra oily here, that's why you probably got a pimple here, and you probably had a pigmentation here, and then this just, it's too much thought. This concealer requires thinking and some precision in shade matching, which I don't enjoy, and it's really thick. This one is really thick, which is really good for coverage. It covers that spot, but I am so malas. I malas nak fikirkan tentang di mana ia akan berubah warna, ya kawan-kawan. Jadi maybe not the best. I wouldn't repurchase this for sure. So the next concealer that I want to talk about is actually the Maybelline Age Rewind concealer. I know a lot of people really like this concealer, and I agree entirely. This is my second bottle. The first bottle that I bought, I did not like it. That was years ago when the hype was just starting. I hated this concealer. I think back then this was not the best concealer for my skin type. Then again, I didn't know what skin type I had back then. It was just like, my skin hasn't settled. I still had a lot of pimples and pigmentation and yada yada yada. But I really like this now. I've even used up. Can you see? It's like all the way till here. It's here. So it goes to show that I really like this, and I wear this especially under my eyes. Yes, I like this for a fuss-free makeup day, which is work days especially. This one really just covers up or evens out. It doesn't cover up dark icicles, but I think it evens out my skin tone underneath there, so it looks more one. You understand what I mean? And the difference between this and the Becca, I feel, is that this one has more moisturizing effect. Like, it makes your under eyes look like supple and bouncy and fresh, as in terms of the skin. But this one just evens out the skin tone, if you get what I mean. It has no radiance. Your skin just looks like skin underneath the eyes. Yeah, that's why I think this is fuss free, no extra perks, just a straight up concealer to put under your eyes. This one just makes your under eyes look moisturized and fresh, which between these two, of course, this one wins in my opinion. But for the everyday girl out there, the everyday working woman, this is sufficient. And yeah, just have to, the key to under eyes, I think is once you put the concealer on, right, like smack right here where the hollows of your eyes are, you just let that concealer sit there for like maybe 5 seconds, let it dry down a bit, and then you blend it out. Then the coverage should be spot on. So I've been doing that with all my under eye concealers, and this concealer is fuss free for sure. I want to talk about next is also another drugstore one, and this is the L'Oreal True Match in light medium warm 4.5. This one, and this one I got it in a drugstore in New York. I like it, but I think this one is good for blemishes because it is thick. It's the one right there. It is thick. Yeah, don't know, put it in front of my face. This is thick. This is the Becca. This is the L'Oreal. And this concealer runs a bit more yellow for a drugstore concealer, which I really like. I like it when drugstore concealers run a bit more yellow, not orange, yellow, because it fits with my skin, olive yellow undertone. So I appreciate that a lot. And out of all the shades that I have right now, this is the closest I have to NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer in Ginger. This is the closest color. So in terms of shade matching, this shade is the best shade that I've got out of all the concealers I have here. And I've got no complaints. It does last quite a long time, and it's super blendable like it says. And I would recommend this to anyone who's looking for a concealer in the L'Oreal line for sure. The True Match line does not fail apparently. The last concealer that I want to share with you guys is, out of all the concealers here, this specific concealer is the most pleasing to use. Pleasing despite it being in a jar. So this is the Glossier Stretch Concealer, and I've got it in the color dark font. It does not look dark here. Yep, it does not look dark here, but can you see how emollient it looks like? Let me demonstrate. Finger concealer, just a bit, and swipe. Sorry, let me take more. And it just blends into your skin. You can barely see it. But somehow the texture of this concealer, it melts with your skin warmth to the point that it just absorbs into the skin. It becomes one with the skin, and I really like that. All the other concealers that I've been talking about sit on the skin. You can tell that the concealer is just like there, blended, but you know that someone's wearing makeup. But this one, it doesn't seem to do that. It stretches with your skin. So let's say you have like smile lines like I do, and then I happen to have a concealer spot here. It just smooths that part over, which I really like. I think Deanna Edit really likes this concealer, and for good reason. It holds up in Singapore's weather, and I enjoy this, and this pot will last me for ages. As for sanitary wise, I have to say that so far this concealer has been quite sanitary for me to use, in the sense that all you have to do to wipe off the top layer is just to take a piece of tissue and just wipe off the top layer, and then that's it. The top layer literally just comes off just like that, and then you have a fresh new layer underneath. So that's all for my updated concealers review, or concealer edit. I love all the concealers equally in terms of usefulness. All of them are useful, but the one that I like the least is the Urban Decay. The one that I like the most is the Glossier Stretch Concealer. The one that I like the most for my under eyes is the Becca Aqua Luminous Concealer. I hope you found that concealer video helpful, and I'll see you guys in my next video, inshallah. Bye. Do subscribe to my channel for more content. Click the bell to be notified of new uploads, and if you'd like, you can follow me or my husband on Instagram to see what we're up to. Bye!